this never used to be an issue because people never made this kind of money before, or most people didn't anyway. And for the first time, the average person might be looking at a significant amount of money, right? The average person in crypto. So it's worth thinking about. Now, it's different in many parts of the world, depending on where you are. Most third world countries don't have to worry about this stuff, but a lot of Western countries, especially the UK, the US, we have to worry about something called inheritance tax. Now, this is called something different wherever you are. In the UK, we call it inheritance tax. And basically, it's a tax that gets levied on your assets when you pass away by the government before the rest of it goes to your next of kin, whoever that is. Now, the amount that the government takes out all depends on what your threshold is. Your threshold is determined by different factors like, if you're married, if you have children, if you give to charity, etc., etc. But on average, the threshold is often a minimum of 325,000, and it ranges to about £500,000. Now, normally, again, like I said before, that's quite a lot of money, and most people don't have to worry about that sort of stuff. But now, with a combination of maybe assets you already have, homes, cars, etc., and crypto, a lot of people are going to be pushed over that threshold, which is why we now have to start worrying about things like this, especially those people who are intending to leave money behind for their next generational wealth folk, right? And in crypto, a lot of people are thinking like that, especially people who hold XRP, who are in it for the long term, who would never sell, who intend to be making money via AMM and all sorts of passive income mechanisms that will basically be implemented over the years. Now, it's worth considering that when you do pass away, the government basically takes control of your estate, or there's an executor that takes control of your estate. By the way, this isn't tax advice, legal advice, or financial advice. Please seek professional assistance. This is just me on the YouTubes, talking about things randomly. Okay, so now we've got that out of the way. So basically what happens is there's an executor who looks through everything that you hold, pays all your debt, settles bills, etc., after having paid taxes to the government. And then, according to your will, it goes to whoever your next of kin is, your children, whatever. And if you don't have a will, then the government decides what happens to the money. So that's another important thing, that you should probably get a will done if you have dependents, etc. Right? Now, it's worth considering that most people that pass away with crypto at the moment probably just pass away and their crypto is burnt effectively. In fact, a good chunk of Bitcoin that we have now is actually burnt because people have either lost their passwords or keys, or they've passed away without telling anybody what their keys are. So those are never to be found. In fact, I could see a future when, people in the next generation, children that have grown up to be adults, are clearing out the attic, suddenly find a sheet of paper with, a key phrase on it, and they immediately recognize what it is, because by then, of course, cryptocurrencies will be mainstream, and they'll type in the key just to see, and they'll be sitting on billions of dollars. That's going to happen to a lot of people in the future. I'm 100% certain of it, because a lot of people who have passed away might have written down their keys and hidden them somewhere to be found decades from now. So that's going to be exciting from someone. So if you do clear out your attic, or throwing away paperwork, make sure you have a look at all of the paper to see if you can see a 12 or 24 set of keys. Anyway, I digress. Let me get a sip of my coffee. Right, so how a lot of people get around this stuff, especially the very wealthy people, is they don't hold their assets on their own names. They hold their assets behind a corporation of some kind. So they set up a company and their assets are held behind that company, so that when they die, the assets don't have to be liquidated. The assets remain held by the corporation. And guess who else is a member of that corporation? You got it, the next of kin. So it doesn't count as inheritance tax. It just passes on naturally without the government having to do anything, or they having to do anything. Now, there are probably other legal and tax issues to deal with, But that's not going to be the 40% that the government takes, especially here in the UK, right? Now, I know what people are going to say. People are going to say, well, I'll just pass them the keys, right? And no one's going to know. Well, remember that all those keys now, a lot of these wallets are now being tracked by the government, so they know who you are. Unless you've never dealt with a centralized exchange, then maybe you've got Monero or whatever. But a lot of those wallets now that you think are private are actually tracked by the government, so they know who you are. If you were to pass away and you get a death certificate, the government is notified that you have passed away, and the executor will go after your assets, right? Especially if you have debt. They know who you are, they know where your assets are, okay? And they will contact your next of kin to try and find out what's going on. Now, if you do it legally, the proper way, you pass them the keys, and now they have to hand over those keys to the executor or the government, who will liquidate your crypto. And they won't care if you're in a bear market, bull market, whatever. They will liquidate at will. They'll probably do a market dump. They wouldn't do a slow limit order. They might not even want to get the best price. They would just liquidate it, get their money, and then, you get the rest, right? So it's for enforced selling. Your next of kin might be losing a lot more than 40%. Now, if your crypto was behind a company, say, then the company assets are still the company's assets. The company never dies unless you liquidate the company itself, right? Now, with your next of kin just being another member of the company, it just naturally passes on. No need to sell anything. Assets are assets. You will have to pay tax, depending on where you are, on the passive income that is coming out of that corporation's crypto, if you know what I mean. Now, another benefit of that is, of course, you can set up that entity, not necessarily in the country that you live. You can set it up in a different country and hold the crypto in Portugal, in Palau, in Costa Rica, El Salvador, somewhere, Dubai, somewhere with a better tax regulation and tax law. Again, none of this is advice. Please seek professionals. This is just some guy on YouTube. Now, I have a few companies myself, of course, for different reasons, not necessarily for crypto, because I've been around a while. I've been doing online sales, etc. So I have a lot of companies that I've set up in different parts of the world to deal with the law in those parts. The most active one is in America, for obvious reasons. And if you're international, especially, it might take a little bit of a while to sign up for a company in a different country because you have to contact a professional over there to do it for you. But now in 2024, it is extremely easy. You just go on these websites that can do it for you. You click. The one that I've used recently, I have it on all my videos. So if you look in the description section, you will see it there. It's an affiliate link, by the way. So I might get some commission if you indeed sign up and some criteria fulfilled. I don't always get commissions. Anyway, so that link will take you to the one in America to set up your LLC there. It takes a few minutes. Click. It costs about $39, something like that. I'm working on the UK one because when I did my UK one, I just used some guy on the high street. But there's one that I found in the UK that does it online. I'm using it now to try and set up a company just so I can go through the experience before I recommend them. Yesterday, I signed up for another 2 companies in the US to use for different things. Now, I haven't used them yet. They're just sitting there in my portfolio of companies, if you know what I mean. You don't have to immediately use the companies, or you can just have it, because the way things are going, I believe that the government might actually clamp down on our ability to set up these companies so quickly, because a lot of these companies are being used, to sort of sidestep some things, right? And what the government usually does when we have some kind of advantage is try to close that down really quickly. And that may happen, or laws might be changed, whatever. Again, not financial advice, do your own research. I will see you in the next video.